features on companies, people, strategies, ideas, and economic trends. The Financial Times offers an unrivaled platform for advertisers to enhance brand awareness and move products. We will enable you to reach confident and informed consumers and decision makers who are ready to buy, which includes company CEOs, CFOs, managers, entrepreneurs, policymakers in government, politics and civil society, diplomats, members of the academia, and other key influencers. See examples of advertisement opportunities featured in Financial Times T sections below. Telecom sections, real estate section, company news, banking, finance and insurance industry, information technology, national, regional and global markets overview, motoring, lifestyle. Get your copy of Financial Times for only 2,000 Tanzania shillings only.
Tonight. DART transport system causes passenger delays and injuries. 50 people die after tragic accident in Kenya. Taifa Stars arrive safely in Cape Verde. Good evening, this is Capital News at 9:30. My name is Vanessa Victor. Let's get started with the national news. Passengers using the DAR Rapid bus transport system have asked the government to intervene and find a permanent solution to the problem due to the limited number of buses in rotation, causing passenger congestion and leading to injuries as they fight to enter the buses. The Minister of State in the President's Office for Regional Administration and Local Government, Suleiman Jafo, has directed the CEO of DAR Rapid Transit Agency, DART, to immediately explain why the services are unreliable and cause transport problems to residents of the city. Minister Jafo directed his Deputy Minister Joseph Kakunda to meet with the leadership of DART as well as the company that supervises running of the transport service early tomorrow and to identify the source of the problem and deliver a report as soon as possible.
I'm not satisfied with the current state of affairs. Therefore, I'm instructing the Executive Officer, Ronald Rokatale, to provide me with some answers on what is going on. As you know, currently we have a service provider, UDAT, whereby there has been staff complaints. You see, when people are stranded, they think that the drivers and staff who issue tickets are under DAT, when they are under the service provider. So when the service provider goes against the terms and conditions, he brings public transport into disarray. In the end, the blame falls on DAT.
A large fire has burnt down 2 girls' dormitories at Panda Hill Secondary School in Songwe area, Mbeya district, causing destruction of property and causing more than 200 students to have nowhere to sleep. The fire occurred at 10 a.m. while the students were in class and burnt down 2 dormitories with a capacity of keeping 200 students as well as various property belonging to the students, but nobody was injured.
When the fire broke out, we were in class. It was a shocking information when we were informed about the fire, but we thank God that all students are safe and are doing well, despite losing our properties. However, we managed to save a few. To us, rescuing operation was not easy because some of our fellows were running away. 126 students' dormitory of Form 1 and Form 2 was destroyed badly, and a Form 6 dormitory which catered for 96 students was also destroyed by the fire. We received information of the incident around 10 a.m. in the morning, where we reached the school at around 10:30 a.m. and began the exercise of putting off fire. We managed to rescue about many things that were in the dormitories.
Following the controversial refusal of more than 300 passengers on Ukara Island in Ukira District, Mwanza region, to use the transport services being provided by the 2 ferries of MV Sabasaba and MV Ukara, For different reasons, such as the worrying seaworthiness of the ferries, the government has directed all passengers to continue using the services being provided by the two ferries. The government has said that the passengers should do this until such a time when the construction of a new ferry weighing 50 tons and has the capacity to carry 300 passengers has been completed.
To us, this is a problem because we have met all the transportation requirements, including having enough life jackets and given a limited number of passengers, which is 40 people, and 40 life jackets, plus a license, which we have all of them. There are times that you have an emergency on the other island. You'll have to wait until the other ferry comes back. With the slow speed that it has, you will never reach fast. When it rains, it will definitely throw us in the lake. My opinion is for the responsible authorities to come and take this ferry and bring a better one. Otherwise, it will also kill us.
Residents of 3 villages of Mbutu Ward in Igunga District, Tabora region, have welcomed the Deputy Minister for Energy, Ms. Subira Ngalu, by hoisting aloft placards and posters that contained various messages. These messages claim that the third phase of the Rural Electrification Authority's project and the BTAP project that was designed for 12 villages has not fully met the demands for electricity. This reception prompted the Deputy Minister to provide answers to the villagers' complaints before she carried on with her tour to inspect the launch and switch-on electricity supply in the houses of people where access to power had already been installed.
Only one street, but it was announced that the whole region has been connected. Honorable Minister, this is not a political issue. If the poles are to be installed, please tell us the truth. My street people have already installed wiring in their houses, but there's no any other further efforts of bringing electricity in my street. We are happy for visiting us. However, we need answers to our questions. The way you received me with banners, this is evidence towards highly demand of electricity here. Among other challenges here is that the electricity transformer is not powerful. Please do change the transformer so that people can get power.
Prime Minister Kassim Majaliwa has directed village and ward officials in Mpwapwa District, Dodoma region to take action against all individuals destroying water sources and thus causing the district to face a problem of lack of water services. During his visit of Kibakwe village in Mpwapwa district and immediately after inspecting various development projects, Prime Minister Majaliwa said residents of the districts have been recklessly cutting down trees and causing the district to have a small number of water sources.
You must make sure that water catchment areas and forest reserve areas are identified so that they must be protected. Anyone found cutting down a tree without a special license obtained from the regional commissioner's office only, then right measures should be taken against him. All of us must work together. You cannot build a road without having done a proper survey. I would like to assure you that the stage has now been finalized from Kongwe, Pachani to Mpwapwa.
In the case against 5 teachers of Hazina International Primary School in Dar es Salaam, including headmaster Patrick Cheche, aged 43, the prosecution has stated in court that investigations into the leak of the Standard 7 national examinations have not been completed. The case was brought before Judge Huruma Shahidi in Kusutu Resident Magistrate Court, Dar es Salaam, and other accused apart from Cheche, who is a resident of Mapinga, Bagamoyo, include Lawrence Ochieng, aged 30, Justice James, aged 32, Nastri Muhammad, aged 32, Mambo Eid, aged 32 as well, all of whom were residents of Dar es Salaam. Previously, the accused are facing 3 charges, including plotting to interfere in national examinations, to obtain and show candidates the answers to the questions, and to communicate with the candidates. The Chief of the National Service, Major General Martin Busungu, has asked the government to give the army some of the furniture within the containers imported by Dar es Salaam Regional Commissioner Paul Makonda that are currently being held by Tanzania Revenue Authority. Major General Martin Busungu made that request to the Minister for Defense and National Service, Dr. Hussein Ali Mwinyi, when he was launching a building which houses the administrative section of Kawawa Secondary School.
Some furniture was imported for schools, but the consignment was not cleared at the port, and an auction to sell the furniture was done several times, but no buyer came forward. If it can be arranged for us to get some of this furniture, then it will go a long way to alleviate this lack. We've also built a modern dormitory for girls for Form 5 and 6 students. This dormitory was built for just 27 million shillings as a result of the closer relationship between the school and the 141 unit. I did not quite know how to respond to this request made because this money is needed. So the commander has somehow made it easy by suggesting that we ask to be given some of the furniture that failed to be cleared at the port. I'm confident that you shall be granted, as TRA gives a special preference to the army.
Some tourists have been forced to push forward their trip and increase the number of days in the country so that they can continue to watch the wildebeest migration as they move back to Tanzania from Kenya through Serengeti National Park. Serengeti National Park officials said that despite the migration varying each year due to climate change and water levels in Mara River, it has continued to be a huge draw for tourists.
Watching the annual wild beast migration from Kenya to Tanzania is a spectacular event. I urge Tanzanians to come and visit our national parks at this season to witness such brilliant event and the rest of attractions found in our national parks.
The Minister for Livestock, Farming and Fisheries, Luanga Mpiga, has directed the Ilala municipality to immediately break up the supervisory board of the ferry fish market due to its misuse of revenue. This misuse includes actions such as paying itself more than 54 million shillings within 1 month and planning to pay 20 million shillings to every board member whose term of service on the board has ended. All this while the infrastructure of the market is in really poor shape.
Will pay 54 million in taxes, yet use a market that doesn't have a toilet. So the 2018-19 budget must be revised, and this expenditure together with any unnecessary expenditure must be removed. The money that will remain should then be used towards construction of the infrastructure. Honorable Minister, we commend you for the good work that you are doing, but we are asking that just like you dissolved the board, then you should do the same to the market management.
International news follows just next.
The relaunched Financial Times is the premier business newspaper in Tanzania. The Financial Times is a weekly source of information and business insight for the most successful leaders, executives, investors, and entrepreneurs in Tanzania and throughout the East Africa region. We provide critical business insight and in-depth features on companies, people, strategies, ideas, and economic trends. The Financial Times offers an unrivaled platform for advertisers to enhance brand awareness and move products. We will enable you to reach confident and informed consumers and decision makers who are ready to buy, which includes company CEOs, CFOs, managers, entrepreneurs, policymakers in government, politics and civil society, diplomats, members of the academia and other key influencers. See examples of advertisement opportunities featured in Financial Times sections below. Telecom sections, real estate section, company news, banking, finance and insurance industry, information technology, national, regional and global markets overview, motoring, lifestyle. Get your copy of Financial Times for 2,000 Tanzania shillings only.
In international news, Kenya is mourning the death of 50 people who died in a tragic road accident at Fort Tena huko Londiani, 286 kilometers from Nairobi. The accident occurred at 4 a.m. when a public bus called Homeboys that was heading west of Kenya from Nairobi lost its way, flipped over multiple times and fell into a ditch.
For now, we can't say what exactly, but from up the road you can see speed marks, which indicates that he tried controlling the bus but failed. Hence, it ended up down here. We can't say what else exactly because we have just started the investigation.
President Joseph Kabila's order that the citizens of the Democratic Republic of Congo have 3 days of mourning to remember those who lost their lives in the tanker truck fire, one of the deadliest traffic accidents in the country, has been refused. As many say, people die in Beni, yet there is no mourning announced by the government.
It is going to be impossible for us citizens of North Kivu to respect on the president's call to weep for 3 days, for we also have many problems.
This week, scientists issued their most extensive warning yet of the threat from rising global temperatures. This dramatic report from the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change advised the temperatures should be kept under 1.5 degrees Celsius from pre-industrialized levels, or else the world could face a climate catastrophe. But it has been met with nonchalance from the German government. Chancellor Angela Merkel once promoted herself as a champion of climate protection, but it seems that those days are long gone. With me is our correspondent from Dershwell, Alex Forrest-Whiting, and she joins us now. Alex, what exactly did this report state?
Well, it took 3 years in the making and involved scientists from across the world. And the main takeaway is that unless the world acts within 10 to 12 years, there will be catastrophic effects due to global warming. What they have said, those scientists, is that they want to ensure that global warming does not rise above 1.5 degrees Celsius. They had said previously in Paris 3 years ago that 2 degrees Celsius would be okay. But now they're saying that half a degree Celsius extra could impact hundreds of millions of people across the world, that there could be increased drought, increased flooding, rising sea levels could in fact destroy coastal communities around the world within just 12 years' time. And they're saying that the world has to act now because by 2050 there should be no global emissions at all, otherwise it will be very serious indeed. The problem is though that many countries, including Germany, are actually increasing emissions rather than reducing them. So it is a clear problem.
So how has the German government responded to this report?
Well, when the report was published on Monday, they invited the press into the Environment Ministry and they rolled out the red carpet, had everybody on hand to answer questions. But they didn't, in fact, have their own Environment Minister there. Instead, they had her deputy, and he had to defend Germany's environmental policies. The problem, though, is that Germany isn't doing particularly well. They are due to reduce emissions by 2020 by 40%, but at the moment it looks like they're going to massively miss that target. Part of the problem is coal production, which is on the rise here in Germany. Around about 36% of all power in Germany comes down to coal. There's another issue as well, which is transport. You may remember the Dieselgate scandal that took place in Germany, impacting across the world, and it turned out that various auto industries, some of the companies, were actually emitting more emissions than they claimed to be, so there was more pollution. The government was worried about that because the auto industry is very important to them. They reached a deal whereby they would not ban diesel vehicles in cities across Germany, but in fact just this week in Berlin a court said that there had to be a partial ban, demanding that the government acts. Another issue, this summer we had very, very hot temperatures across Europe, and at a European level within the EU, countries were trying to reduce emissions again further from what they've already agreed. But some countries, including Germany, said that they didn't want to do that and they blocked those plans.
In the past, the German Chancellor Angela Merkel has actively tried to cut emissions. So what has changed?
Well, I think you've got to bear in mind what's happening with Angela Merkel. She has been fighting those on her own side within the Conservative bloc who say that she is not necessarily the best person to still be Chancellor, to be leading that Conservative bloc. So she's got to deal with that. They've got some state elections in Germany coming up, including in Bavaria on Sunday, and many people are noting that the Conservatives are not doing well there in the polls, and they are blaming her, saying that her policies have not been right-wing enough. The environmental policies, of course, play into that, and people are concerned that it will mean that bills will go up, that industries will be taxed further, so they don't really want that to be played out too much. There's also another issue here. Back in 2011 in Japan, there was a nuclear disaster at the Fukushima plant, and Angela Merkel took it on herself to decide that Germany should ban all nuclear power plants. She herself is a physicist. Now, that played out fairly well at the time, but now people are saying actually Germany doesn't have a proper strategy. They banned those nuclear plants, but at the same time there seems to be an increase in coal production, and so it's not green enough. Now, there has been some good news for environmentalists here in Germany. There have been plans by RWE, which is an energy company, to build another coal mine across a forest here in Germany, and a court has intervened and said actually that has to be suspended. There have to be more investigations before that can go ahead. So you get the picture here in Germany that the politicians, Angela Merkel and others, those in government, are not actually making the difference here. It's coming down to the courts, it's coming down to the judges. But really, if Germany does want to cut emissions, politicians have to act, and they have to act fast.
Thank you very much, Alex, for that report. We hope this situation does get resolved for the interest of the country, but more importantly, for the interest of the environment. And that is all for international news. I will be back with business news after this short break.
Watch Business Edition as we talk to business leaders and experts in sectors that are transforming Tanzania's economy.
To be rich, I have to be a business person.
It's not an easy road at all.
People need to understand. You must quickly think, how cost effective are you going to be?
Business acts as a way in which it can bridge that gap.
Business Edition will keep you informed on latest developments in the financial sector, extractive industry, tourism, agriculture, energy, construction, and so much more. Meet entrepreneurs who create employment opportunities. Watch Business Edition on Friday at 8:15 p.m.
Welcome back, and in business news. CRDB's board chairman Ali Lay has officially introduced the new managing director of the bank, Abdulmajid Nsekela, and said that his presence will be key in modernizing the bank's activities. Abdulmajid Nsekela takes the place of Dr. Charles Kimei, who has retired after successfully serving the bank for over 20 years.
Board ya wakurugenzi inaamini kuwa ndugu Nsekela.
Board of Directors believe that Mr. Sekela is the right person in leading CRDB Bank in the new era which emphasizes technology revolution. That is digital banking. Also, I would like to acknowledge Dr. Charles Kimei, who has finished his time, who has led CRDB Bank for more than 20 years. Dr. Kimei has contributed a lot in building CRDB and making it the leading bank and a people's choice.
Imeweza kuongeza chachu na kuanzisha biashara mbalimbali.
It has enabled in increasing emphases and start businesses which contribute to national development. From CRDB Bank, we have started other branches like CRDB Microfinance, which has big visions of reaching out to many Tanzanians, especially those who don't get chances and services easily.
Mobile company Tigo in Mtwara said that cashew nut farmers will be able to receive over 5 million shillings and up to 10 million shillings on their mobile phones and use it to make purchases, thus avoiding fraud and theft that occurred last season.
In money systems on the phone network, they had their limits in which you couldn't get 3 million per take. So now we have taken our request to BOT to pay up to 10 million to farmers. So this season of 2018 heading to 2019, a farmer can be paid up to 10 million on their phone, and now it won't be necessary for the farmer when they get that money to go fetch it all the way to the agencies. Now it's going to be different.
The National Ranching Company NARCO has entered into new investment contracts within its blocks after the end of the previous 10-year contract and have asked that new investors take into consideration the rules within the contracts.
All contracts that were signed in the past have now expired, so as of today the new contracts will come into effect. Some investors are here today having met the terms and conditions stipulated. Those who have not signed the contracts have expressed no interest in investing with us and shall therefore be removed so new investors can come in.
And that's all for business news. Sports is next.
Hi, my name is Kotaro Tokuda.
What's up? My name is Sean Garnier.
I'm John Barnes from Liverpool Football Club. The hip, hop, a hip, the hip, hip, hop. You don't stop the rockin' to the bang, bang boogie. Say up, jump the boogie to the rhythm of the boogie to beat. Now watch you here.
I'm watching Sports Gazette.
I'm watching Sport Gazette.
And you're watching Sports Gazette
with Sebastian.
With Sebastian. Peace out.
Yes! And you can also watch Sports Gazette for highlights and interviews regarding sports. Do not miss Sports Gazette every Wednesday at 7 p.m. only on Capital Television.
In sports news, Taifa Stars and their supporters have arrived safely in Praia, Cape Verde, ready for their international match scheduled for Friday. The captain and other international players have also already arrived at the Taifa Stars camp in the country.
The team Taifa Stars have arrived safely here at Cape Verde. All players in good shape, plus everyone who we came with. The hospitality here is nice. Players who are signed abroad who have already arrived are Bwana Samata and Simon Msuva, except Faridi Musa and Shabani Chilunda, because their clubs are still doing logistics.
Wrestlers participating in the Nyeri Cup competition, which was launched today, have been urged to use this opportunity to be added into the national team so that they can represent the country in various international competitions.
Firstly, I ask the players to be calm, because as we say, this sport will be as an entertainer for the memorial of the nation's father. It should be fair and not roughly played. We want it to be a good game so that even anyone else can be convinced to love this game.
As
you have seen here today in opening, it's a sport played by men, but we also have women, which before we didn't have. Now the women have seen it's a good sport and were able to join. Also, we have a lot of invites so as to spread it to even rich schools.
Preparations for the CDF Golf Trophy are in the final stages, and the competition will officially begin this Saturday, with more than 5 clubs expected to participate.
The main aim of this competition of the Army Leading General is to unite guardian of the club together with the club leadership and the members. And this competition is sponsored by NMB Bank, who we have been with for a long time. They have been helping us with a lot in running the competition activities and club activities in general. And mostly when you look at the content of this competition and what the CDF Cup Trophy stands for, we as NMB have decided to continue to sponsor this competition with 26 million Tanzanian shillings so as to successfully complete this competition.
And that sports item ends our news bulletin. On behalf of everyone who worked to prepare this bulletin, thank you for watching and have a good night.